I make $727 a month with my tiny internet startup, and this is the tech stack I use to build it. I work completely solo and it works great for me, and the best thing is it only costs me $45 a month to run my entire stack. For the front end, I use Next.js, which I guess you could consider full stack with the server actions that it has, which allows you to actually run some code in the cloud and keep sensitive data private or do some other actions that you don't want users to mess with in the browser. It's completely free and I've had great experiences with it, so I'm gonna stick with it. For styling, I'm using Tailwind. I love that I can make changes right where I need them and see exactly what it's gonna apply to. I'm not the best at plain CSS, but I don't like how sometimes I make a small change and it impacts my whole app. With Tailwind, I know exactly what impact my change is gonna have and what part of the app I'm changing. And of course, it's completely free, so it's a no-brainer for me. I also heavily use Chatzian components because they are beautifully designed, and it's great for someone with a background in backend development like myself that doesn't really know how to design well. And it's also completely free, so I'm really happy with it. I also use Cursor quite a bit in my daily workflow. I can just describe what I'm trying to design and then iterate on it until I found something that I like. As I said, I'm not good at design, so it's been a lifesaver to actually make something that people want to use. Cursor costs me $20 a month, and in my opinion, it's completely worth it. I don't really trust it with my backend code yet, but for frontend, it's been really nice. For backend, I'm starting off with Next.js again, because as I said, it's not really purely a front-end framework. It's super comfortable to work with server actions where I don't actually have to design an API that I call from the front end, but I can just call functions I define as server actions, and Next.js figures it all out by itself, so that's been super nice. For my database, I use Supabase. I'm a big fan of Supabase. It's using a relational database, just normal Postgres in the background. It also offers Supabase Auth, which has been a joy to work with. It's super easy to set up Supabase Auth, which offers email sign-up or also integrates with different social platforms like Google, Apple, GitHub, and so on to allow users to sign in whatever way they want. It's been super easy. I've actually been surprised about that. It also offers what they call edge functions if you need that, which also brings that kind of back-end functionality where you can run code that is not run in the browser directly and you can run some more sensitive stuff on there. I'm also using it for my crons, so I'm using pgcron and pgnet. These are extensions for Postgres to actually regularly invoke edge functions, which then might send emails that need to go out regularly or stuff like that. I also used to use AWS S3 or maybe Backblaze B2 for storage in previous projects, but Supabase storage has actually been super nice to work with. It integrates super well into the whole ecosystem, and while I think it's a bit more expensive than the alternatives, I'm currently only storing logos, which are not that huge. So I'm super happy with it. If I had any kind of limits in the future, I might move back to S3 or B2, but so far I didn't have any problems and I'm quite happy with my choice. So for Supabase, I actually pay $35 a month, but that's only because I have quite a few projects on Supabase. I think the current project, Tiny Launch, that I actually make money on, I could run completely for free without hitting any kind of limit. So next is Vercel, which is where I actually host all my Next.js projects. So I just create a GitHub repo and I push all my code and then I connect it to Vercel and it's super easy for it to go live. And then I can also connect it to my domain super easily. I usually buy my domains with Porkbun, which I prefer, or if they don't have the TLD that I'm looking for, I usually go to Namecheap. For example, for Tiny Launch, which ends in CH, which is actually a Swiss domain, you can't buy these in Porkbun, so I usually opt for Namecheap. For my usage, Vercel is also completely free, but I also wouldn't mind paying $10 or $20 a month because I've been really happy with the service. For email, I use Resend. It actually integrates quite well with Supabase as well for transactional emails like sign up or changing your password. And occasionally I send mass emails, which I just do with like a simple Python script if I want to reach all of my users for a specific purpose. For example, recently I asked users to maybe leave a testimonial, which of course they got a little bit exposure for in return. And yeah, that was super easy with Resend. And for Resend, I currently pay about $20 a month. I also recently started a newsletter with Beehive. It's a weekly newsletter for Tiny Launch, which covers what's new on the platform, who won during the last week. I pick out 1 or 2 projects I liked the most out of the past launch week. And I also share a tweet, which I thought is maybe inspirational or funny or something like that. The newsletter currently has about 1,500 subscribers, which is still within the free tier. I think up until 2,500 I don't have to pay them anything. And I really like that I can go into the analytics and see who clicked which button and maybe optimize it that way. And especially since I also offer sponsored spots, it's good to have some insights into how the newsletter did. For payment, I just use Stripe, which integrates seamlessly with my app. When people click buy, they get redirected to the Stripe hosted payment page, and then they get redirected back and get shown a success message. I really don't have anything negative to say about Stripe. It's been a good experience, and I think they take like 2.9% flat of the transaction amount plus 30 cents, which for me has been acceptable. For monitoring, first of all, I actually use Mark Liu's new project, which is DataFast. I really like that I can see not only my visitors but also the revenue that I made and how they relate together. So I can see maybe most of my traffic came from X or some other source, but I can also see how much revenue came from that source, and maybe I can figure out which marketing channel is the most profitable for me. DataFast currently starts at $90 per year, which would be about $7.50 a month. But when I bought it, I could get it for around $60 a year, which is like $5 a month. And since it's currently in beta, it's not the most advanced analytics tracking software out there, but they do have some features like that integration of revenue data, which is new and worth it for me. So I actually often share screenshots of my DataFast dashboard on X, and these posts usually do quite well. So even just for the exposure I'm getting for the screenshots I'm posting, it's worth the $5 a month price tag for me. I actually have my own affiliate link with DataFast, so if you want to support me or Tiny Launch, then please consider clicking the link in the description to check it out. I also recently integrated Sentry, which is like a platform to track errors that happen across your app, both in the client side and the server side. I have to say I haven't really looked into the errors too much because there's just so much to do currently, but I know they are there and I can go deep into what's going wrong and make my app more stable in the future. And I'm currently not paying anything for Sentry, so for me it's a good choice. I also sometimes check the Vercel logs for any errors that might occur, and recently I've also built my own admin panel for Tiny Launch where I can see how many new users did I get or how many launches, free versus premium launches. And I also went into a little bit deeper topics like trying to optimize how many people check out the premium offer, and then of the people that check it out, how many people actually check out and convert into paying customers. So while some people might consider it a little bit of a waste of time, I really like looking into that data and optimizing it, and I can also sometimes share screenshots of that admin panel, which also do quite well impressions-wise, so it's totally been worth it for me. I also wanted to mention that for my logo, I actually just used Mark Liu's Logo Fast. The Tiny Launch logo is pretty simple. It's just like a black box with a rocket icon inside of it. And there's actually quite a few people that use a similar logo, so I might have to change it in the future, but right now I'm focusing on other stuff. But it's been really easy to get started with it. I just realized when I embedded it in some places, it kind of didn't work well. There were some errors or some visual bugs. So I just recreated it in Figma. I really didn't want to do that in the beginning because I thought Figma might be too complex. But for a simple task like creating a logo that's very simple, it's actually been super easy and there's no reason not to try it. And both Mark Liu's Logo Fast as well as Figma for my purposes have been free, so you can just check it out. If there's one advice you should take from this video is that tech stack really doesn't matter all that much. What matters is that you're solving a problem that people are willing to pay for, and what happens in the backend, they really don't care. You just need to find something that you're comfortable with, that you can move fast with, iterate on, and then just stop worrying about the rest. There's so many people that care so much about the tech stack, like, oh, this guy is really successful, so I have to use his tech stack. But actually, yeah, nobody cares. People might not even know depending on the niche you're in. And what really matters is that you can solve a problem. So Find something you're comfortable with and stick to it, and you're gonna be good. And just focus on building something people are willing to pay for. So that's been it for this video. As you can maybe tell, I'm still at the very beginning of my YouTube journey, so if you learned anything from this video, I would be super happy if you could leave a like or maybe even subscribe to my channel. It would be much appreciated. Also, I'd be super happy if you could leave a comment on what kind of video you might be interested in next. I'm always on the lookout for new ideas. So thank you for staying until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.